let's do problem number 2 now. So we have the problem says in tomatoes, red fruit, big R, is dominant over yellow fruit, little r, and tallness, big T, is dominant over shortness, little t. A plant that is big R, big T is crossed with a plant that is little r, big T. So we know that this plant is red and tall, and this one is yellow and also tall. So let's see what we get here. All right, so we're going to take this term first, and we're going to go ahead and FOIL it. So I'm going to go big R, big T. All right, and so let's go through and do our terms. Maybe if I get a different pen, it might be easier to see the color changes. All right, so this is my first pair. So I'm going to go ahead and put this across the side of my Punnett square. So we're going to go big R, big T. All right, then we go outside. So that's these two outside terms. So that's outside here. And that's also big R, big T. All right, then we have our inside terms. Okay, so that is little r, big T. And finally, we have the last terms of the pair, which is little r, also big T. Okay, and so that's one side of the Punnett square. Okay, and then let's go ahead and do this guy, and we will, so the other parent is little r, big T, little t. So let's go ahead and FOIL that. So we have our first terms of the pair is little r, big T. The outside terms of the pair right here, little r, little t. The inside terms are these two right here, little r, big T. And the last terms of the pair are these two right here, which is going to be little r, little t. Right? And then so we're just going to draw a Punnett square. Okay? And sort of fill it out from there. And let's see what our offspring look like. Okay. All right, so when we do it again, we put our R's before our T's and our capitals before the lowercase. So we're going to first our R's, so we're going to go big R, little r, and then we have two big T's here. Okay, and this is big R, big T, little t. So big R, big T, little t. And this one, if I drag this R over, it's a big R. And this coming down is a little r, and these are two big T's. Okay, and coming over here, we have a big R, big T, little t. All right, and then next we have big R, big T, big R, big T, little t, and I'm just going to keep on going through, remembering to keep my R's before my T's and my capital before my lowercase. All right, and then once we finish this, I'm going to teach you a trick to shorten it up if you're comfortable learning a trick. If not, go ahead and just stop it, and you don't need to learn it. But if you're comfortable with this, I can teach you something that might make this a little bit shorter for you. Okay, so then inside here, these are all my different genotypes that I have. So now let's do what we did with the last one and look at our phenotypes. Even though the problem doesn't specifically ask for that, let's go ahead and just do it for practice. So remember, you can have 4 different possible combinations. So we are looking, and I'm going to go ahead and just write it over here on this side. Okay. We have a plant that could be red. So that's my most dominant, red and tall. Okay. Or I could be red and short. So that would be a dominant recessive. And let's do then recessive dominant. So recessive is yellow and tall. And then finally recessive for both, which would be yellow and short. Okay, and then let's just go ahead and count it up and see what we got. So this one is dominant and recessive. So we are going to be red and tall. Okay. This one is red and tall. Let's see, red and tall, red and tall. We're red and tall there, red and tall, red and tall, red and tall. So that was a total of 8. Okay, and this is short and tall. I'm sorry, not short, but yellow and tall. So we're at yellow tall. This one is also yellow and tall, yellow, tall, yellow, tall. And it looks like all these 4 are also yellow and tall. So we have 8 are red and tall and 8 are yellow and tall, or I would say that 50% of my offspring are red and tall and 50% of the offspring are yellow and tall. Now, one way to shorten this up is to go ahead and say, well, you know what? If I look at this, okay, and I look at this Punnett square, I see, and you can only do it for let's look at the top only. This is exactly the same as this. And because they're the same and they're on the same part of my grid, they're both on the top, I don't have to repeat it. I only have to do this one time. Okay, so I can get rid of this. And also look here, see this and this, they're the same. So if I want to, I can get rid of this. Okay, and now I can do the same thing looking at the side. Now notice that this and this are the same. So I could get rid of this entire row. Okay, and this, they're the same. So I can get rid of this entire row. And I just took a thing that was 16 boxes and I took it down to 4 boxes. And I still have the same exact results. My genotype, I have 4 different genotypes here. And my phenotype is red and tall, yellow, tall, yellow, tall. So I'm a 2 to 2 ratio or a 1 to 1 ratio, just like 8 to 8 would reduce down to 1 to 1, which means that 50% of the offspring would be red and tall, and the other 50% are going to be yellow and tall. I get the exact same results doing all 16 boxes, but it just takes me about half the time to do only 4 boxes instead, or a quarter of the time. So I just shorten up my time by doing it that way. So you don't have to shorten it, but you certainly can if you want to reduce the time it takes you to do problems.